Welcome to this edition of Trust Your Gut with Tania. This is the Kundalini Conundrum. This is all about the controversial, misunderstood yoga practice that you've never heard of. So maybe it was a video that you saw with a woman writhing with convulsions. Maybe it was the cult-like devotees in white turbans. Maybe it was the scandal of the founder and Western leader Yogi Bhajan, who was accused of inappropriate conduct. Maybe you've never heard of any of this. Today, I'm going to dispel some myths and tell you about the immense benefits that I have personally experienced with Kundalini Yoga. Welcome to Trust Your Gut with Tania. I am Tania Abatello, a functional nutrition strategist and wellness practitioner who helps high-performing individuals resolve chronic, complex health issues that haven't responded to conventional approaches. With a background in biology and technology, I take a systems-based investigative approach, identifying root causes, optimizing nutrition, and regulating the nervous system to create highly personalized protocols that actually work. I also integrate Kundalini Yoga, Pilates, and sound healing to help clients not just heal, but fundamentally recalibrate how their body functions under stress. So, where do we start? Rocking in place. Okay. Did you ever notice that young children rock in place when stressed? Maybe you know somebody on the autism spectrum and wondered what's with the rocking and the rhythmic movements, hand flapping, things like that. Like, why are they doing that? Have you ever consoled a crying child and instinctively rocked or swayed side to side? These movements calm the nervous system in miraculous ways. When Jews are deep in prayer, they shuckle or rock back and forth and involve their whole body in worship, in divining. Probably not getting it. Is it divining? The Sufi whirl around in circles during meditation in the Sema ceremony. Indigenous cultures all over the world move their bodies in ecstatic dance. Taoism practitioners cultivate focused energy in Tai Chi. Christianity uses contemplative labyrinths to walk around. I use a little bit of Tai Chi in my practice sometimes. The contemplative labyrinths are pretty awesome. I have one right in my little local beach down here in the State Beach at Hammonasset in Madison, Connecticut. And you want to take a quick look at that one, just go to rosmewellness.com. It is my banner. It is the coolest thing. Just made with stones. My uncle and my cousin helped to put it together and maintain it. I don't know if they're doing that anymore or if it just has a life of its own now. People just come and fix it and go to it and use it, and it's really, really cool. The swirling and whirling. When I started to meditate with mantras back in 2011, I noticed I would naturally rock when I was doing the mantras. Mantras are repetitive phrases. You can do them in English. I am happy. I am healthy. I'm at peace. You can say things like that. Or they can be done in native languages like Gurmukhi, which is the Sanskrit version, like ancient Hindi, which is what they use in this practice because that's where the area of the world in which this is from. Or like Latin. Sometimes there's hymns that you sing in Latin. This is all kind of the same thing. And I know people are going to say it's not the same. Biochemically, it works the same way. So anyway, at the time, I was also studying under a shaman and performing an opening and closing ceremony for my prayer and meditation that included Sufi whirling. Sufi whirling, just go check that out. It's just they go in circles and spin. If you're a little girl and you're wearing a dress and you want to watch it spin around, just twirling in circles. Again, probably kind of spectrum-y, but again, we do these things on purpose when we have dysregulated nervous systems to help to regulate ourselves, right? Movement helped to ease my busy mind into a contemplative state. When I discovered Kundalini Yoga through a friend, I realized that this is what I've been searching for. So what is Kundalini Yoga? Kundalini Yoga combines dynamic breathing, meditation, and repetitive postures to awaken dormant energy at the base of the spine. Practitioners experience reduced stress and anxiety, strengthened nervous and immune systems, enhanced cognitive function, and deeper emotional and spiritual resilience. There's some footnotes. I have everything in the show notes. And this comes from a link from 3HO, which is the Happy Healthy Human organization that was founded by Yogi Bhajan, the guy who brought this stuff from the East to the West. He's a controversial figure. I'll get into that later. Stress and anxiety relief. Deep breathing techniques actively lower heart rate and reduce blood pressure, calming the autonomic nervous system. Mental clarity. Science-backed practices improve focus, memory, and cognitive performance. Physical vitality. Breath control expands lung capacity, while prolonged posture builds core strength. Emotional balance. The practice is designed to help clear emotional blockages and reduce the burden of negative responses like anger. Spiritual connection. It fosters deep introspection, a positive mindset, and an expanded sense of self-awareness. These are all wonderful things, and I have linked below in the show notes. The biology of Kundalini Yoga. This is where I come in, right? I like the science behind these things. That's what I talk about. If nothing else, in all of these episodes, I get into the scientific and biological aspects of certain interventions that are positive for your well-being. This is one of them, and this is where we get it. So the biology of Kundalini Yoga. The biological mechanics of the practice map onto several key systems in the body: the autonomic nervous system and vagus nerve. Sympathetic and parasympathetic balance. Kundalini combines intense breath work, pranayama, dynamic movement, and vocal chanting. This actively shifts the autonomic nervous system, balancing the sympathetic fight or flight and parasympathetic rest and digest branches. So, vagal tone, the next part about this. Sustained breath work, like breath of fire, stimulates the vagus nerve, which reduces heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and calms the amygdala, the brain's fear center. So the vagus nerve is the main nerve that runs from the brain down into the lungs and down into the heart and the digestive system. If your autonomic nervous system is out of whack and this nerve isn't firing properly, the automatic systems like breathing, heart rate, digestion get messed up. This is where we get, it's called dysautonomia. A lot of us on the spectrum, a lot of us with hypermobility issues, there's a lot of things that come together and converge here with this vagus nerve getting out of whack. This exercises and the chanting and different things, the rhythmic stuff, this helps to, it's like a front end alignment for your nervous system. So breath of fire. Breath of fire is a fast-paced breathing in and out. I will give you an example in a second. Fast-paced breathing techniques can induce short-term stress that may improve mental health and have also been shown to volitionally, I don't know what that word is, influence the autonomic nervous system, promoting sympathetic activity. So there's an article from nature.com here, and I'm going to give you an example of what breath of fire is. It's actually very simple. It's just a quick sniffing in and out through the nose. You feel the diaphragm pulsing, the in and out, in and out. If this is too hard, you can try it with your mouth open and pant. But you could do it by yourself. You don't have to do it in front of everybody. And what's wonderful about this is it helps to keep everything aligned and focus. And you can bring, if you're doing it with your mouth closed, bring your tongue up to the roof, the top, the upper palate, and focus in on the third eye, which is the pineal gland inside the center of the brain. Now, what these things do, it's not just hocus pocus. There's not just woo-woo happening here. There's actual neurological circuitry in our body that when you do things together like this, it completes a circuit. So originally, the way humans were back in the day before the Western diet came in and messed up everything, our dental arches were flatter and our tongues rested up against the roof of our mouth. That helps with a lot of things. It helped to broaden everything so all our teeth fit in our mouth. That helped to prevent choking and sleep apnea at night and snoring. And it helped to create this circuit between the nerves in your upper jaw and your tongue. Your tongue is loaded with nerves. Nerves are just electrical wires, and your body creates these nerves so that things can work and fire. And this is a very important part of how this works. So the circuitry that you're connecting with the tongue against the roof of the mouth connects the tongue, the mouth, the head, the eyes, the optic nerves. Those are pretty big, pretty involved. When you close your eyes and you look up in the center right here, you're also creating another circuit. So if you do that together with that panting breathing, you are regulating your nervous system. The endocrine system. Yogic philosophy describes energy centers or chakras that align with major endocrine glands. Kundalini practices are believed to stimulate these glands directly. So again, we get into the pituitary and the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is that third eye. What it does is it can tell whether it's light or it's dark out, and it produces serotonin if it's light and melatonin when it's dark. This is one of the reasons why sometimes people have a hard time getting to sleep, because they're stimulating their pineal gland to create serotonin with the light on their eyeballs at night. This is one of the reasons why you really should be putting down that phone early and maybe reading with an incandescent light bulb or candlelight even, and then go to bed. And your melatonin will kick in and you'll be able to sleep better. But this yoga does, in fact, help to stimulate these glands. So the glands regulate the body's master hormones and circadian rhythms. Specific meditations and gazing at the third eye are thought to stimulate their activity. Adrenal glands. Physical postures or asanas and breathwork manage the body's cortisol and adrenaline levels, training the nervous system to remain stable under physiological stress. So you're working on your cortisol levels when you do these things. And the postures that are repetitive help to stimulate all these glands. Sky, simplified Kundalini Yoga, effectively reduces perceived stress and serum cortisol levels among medical students, highlighting its potential as a stress management intervention in medical education. I am linking that below as well. That is a National Institute of Health study where they took medical students and they had them performing Kundalini regularly, and they measured their cortisol levels and they dropped. Neurochemistry, endogenous opiates. So the endogenous opiates, your body creates all the drugs that you need. All the things that make you feel good, that you're after, your body automatically creates them. It's just hacking the body systems to try to figure out how to get them. So doing this, endorphins, the feel-good hormones, oxytocin and dopamine, things that help you feel good, those endocannabinoids, cannabinoids, cannabis. You don't need to smoke a doobie. All you need to do is a little Kundalini yoga. You'll get to the same place, I swear. As a matter of fact, as a little personal anecdote, I didn't feel the need to smoke anymore after doing this. They say in circles that you really shouldn't be doing that while you're doing this anyway, because it's kind of working against you. So what you want to do is, instead of bringing those things into the body artificially, you want your body to start kicking them out naturally so that you are better able to handle with stress, right? And pain relief, right? Neuroplasticity. Regular Kundalini practice can physically alter brain structure over time. Research shows that meditation can increase gray matter in areas associated with memory, empathy, and executive function. So it literally grows your brain. Again, I think this is a great thing. And there's proof. Kundalini Yoga has been associated with enhancing memory and cognitive function in individuals with mild cognitive impairment and dementia. Additionally, Kundalini Yoga has been shown to improve emotional well-being, social perception, and overall quality of life. That is linked below, another National Institute of Mental Health study. Somatic and cellular level piezoelectricity. This word is funny. It sounds like an Italian word. Moving the body in rhythmic, repetitive ways while maintaining targeted postures is thought to generate piezoelectricity in the body's connective tissues, fascia, and collagen. This provides electrical stimulation to the nervous and meridian systems. Listen up, bendy folks. Anybody here who has Ehlers-Danlos or is hypermobile or can bend and you don't know that what that is it actually a collagen disorder? This helps to stimulate collagen structure in the body. And I'm quoting, piezoelectric materials generate electrical activity in response to deformations and allow for the delivery of an electrical stimulus without the need of an external power source. As a scaffold for tissue engineering, growing interest exists in its potential of providing electrical stimulation to cells to promote tissue formation. And it's primarily collagen, and that's a Science Direct article, but other, obviously it grows your brain cells, it grows your muscle cells, you're doing actual physical activity as well. So a perfect example is twisting. So all you would do is taking your hands, placing them on the shoulders, fingers in front, thumbs in back, and you just inhale left, exhale right. And again, keeping your tongue against the back of the tongue against the top palate, up in the back of your mouth, and your eyes gazing at that middle point inside in the forehead. And what you accomplish by doing this is you're firing off all of those electrical signals and impulses in your torso. And what this does is this helps to build your connective tissue and your fascia. And if you have any issues with your fascia, this will help. And this helps to keep your whole body better structured. And it feels so good that I don't even want to stop doing it. Coming center, nice deep breath in. Arms wide, hold, and exhale. That feels great. I especially needed that because I did this entire podcast and the sound didn't work. So this is round 2 of this podcast, folks. You're getting the new and improved 2.0 version. And did I have a fit? No, I didn't, because I do Kundalini Yoga. My level of patience has grown exponentially since doing these things. So the next part that you benefit by is your cerebrospinal fluid. In advanced yogic texts, this is referred to as nectar. Some practitioners and biological theorists suggest that changes in breathing and pressure alter cerebrospinal fluid composition and flow, which may nourish the brain and spinal cord in new ways. So yes, that is the fluid that runs up and down through your spinal cord and column and into the brain and surrounds the brain. I like to think of it as like the fluid that's inside of the battery. And if there's electrolyte balance in there, and if that goes off, things misfire. And this is one of the reasons why I find taking lithium orotate very helpful, because it is one of those things that you find in batteries, and it is an electroconductive material that is a mineral that naturally occurs that a lot of us don't get enough of. And that's not the drug lithium that people take for bipolar disorder. This is a different form of it, is a naturally occurring form of it. But in any event, what it does is it helps to get that cerebral spinal fluid and all of your nervous system firing more regularly instead of short circuiting. The systolic pulse wave is well established as the primary impetus for cerebral spinal fluid circulation, but there is evidence that the respiratory rhythm also plays a significant role. A recent study of CSF pressure oscillations in anesthetized rats found that the strongest oscillations were coincident with ventilatory chest movement, both spontaneous and mechanically assisted rather than arterial pulse pressure. So your heart, boom, 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 it's doing its thing. There's a wave in there. And you picture maybe your cerebral spinal fluid is being influenced by this. Not really. What really makes the difference to make that flow up and down of your cerebral spinal fluid is your breathing. And by doing that breath of fire that we did earlier, that you are literally causing your cerebral spinal fluid to go up and down and nourish all of the major nerves and your brain in your body. And that was from another article that I have linked. So the sequence that I use in my Pilates class, Kundalini Yoga and Pilates, in my opinion, are the perfect combination. While Pilates was developed as a rehabilitation program for deconditioned bedridden soldiers, caveat, I heard that that might not be true. I don't know. What do I know? If you know, please comment and let me know what the truth is there. That's what I learned. Its focus on core strength is central, but still incomplete. I found the warm-up can use a bit more focus. So adding in part of the following sequence only felt natural. So I have linked a Kundalini Yoga sequence by an amazing yogi. And what I do is I start off with the hip section, and I move to the spinal flexes, and then we get to the twists, and then we do the shoulder shrugs. The shoulder shrugs. So you're moving from the bottom all the way up to the top. We start at the bottom because that's the root. It literally is the root. It is the first part of your body that developed in utero, and it is the beginning of everything. You may think that it's the end because that's where everything ends, but it is literally the first part of your body that was produced and formed in utero. So what happens is it kind of builds from the bottom on up, and you can picture it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You have like food, water, shelter, and you get up to love and contentment. And I don't really remember what they are, but at the very top, you've got self-actualization. And so that's, higher consciousness. It literally works exactly the same way. It's kind of really interesting how these patterns are kind of the same thing, but that's what this practice does. It starts at the bottom and works its way up. And getting into that, isn't this a spiritual practice? Yes, it is. There is some controversy and contradiction around the history and development of Kundalini Yoga in the West. Some 3HO, which is Yogi Bhajan devotees, the guy who brought it over here, in the late 60s, claim that it's the umbrella yoga that came before any other kind. But I've heard practitioners of other yogic modalities say that that's false. There is definitely some ties to Sikhism, but the controversy kind of keeps practitioners of Kundalini at arm's length from the spiritual practice of Sikhism. I am not claiming to know much of anything about deeply held beliefs that some may hold. I'm just reporting here what I've heard and am always open to more education on the topic. I do know that in the practice, I have gotten closer to God, the One, Almighty. This is not a polytheistic faith. In my personal worship as a self-identified Christian, it's the same God. I know some people are going to come at me with that. It's not, it is. Again, this is my opinion. I think that there is one whole big giant being, and we are actually in it and of it, and using, pronouns like he or she or it or they, helps us to better understand it from a human perspective. And this is, I think, one of the reasons behind saints and lesser gods and things like that, is so that there's a bridge between us and the big, but everybody's got the big. And so this particular yogic philosophy this spirituality is around a one God, one Almighty. That's it. So it works really well as a Christian to see two different perspectives of the same guy, right? Guy. So again, this is controversial. I'm not declaring any absolute truths. I'm merely expressing what it has done for me and how it has improved my overall physical health, mental focus, and ability to quiet my mind and actually meditate. I truly believe that there are as many paths to God as there are people, and this is just how I got here. So is Kundalini Yoga dangerous? Yeah, that's another one of those things where you see the people like, oh, you're going to raise your Kundalini. Please. There's a lot of stuff out there that's a lot of wacky things that get people to believe things. I don't think it's dangerous. I understand that if you are doing anything at all that is raising some energy and you're getting involved in things and you're not fully grounded in reality and yourself, yeah, anything can happen with anybody around things like this. It's not dangerous though. But I'm not going to tell you that. What I'm going to do is I am linking a video. And in this video, my teacher, Ravi Singh, explains some of the myths around Kundalini and explains what it actually is. He's a very learned student and longtime practitioner, and he's one of the OGs here in the US. So I'll let him explain this to you. I hope that this has helped you to better understand this amazing tool for health, resiliency, and spiritual connection. If you want to experience more, please subscribe or upgrade your subscription for online classes and more valuable information. In your paid subscription, I will be dropping various Kundalini videos, a little bit of sound healing. We do lymphatic drainage tapping. I have a whole combination of things that we'll do. And I'll even include some Pilates. You guys want it? I'll give it to you. So in the meantime, this has been Trust Your Gut with Tania. I am Tania Abatello, and you all have a sparkling day.